Hello, I'm Didier Jean-Baptiste, the Dean of the Senior Class at St. Benedict's. Welcome to our second day of the Senior Awards Ceremony for the Class of 2020. This event, traditionally a dinner held on the Thursday before graduation, has been moved to this virtual format this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the purpose and spirit remain the same. We are here to recognize each member of the Class of 2020 and to present a dozen or so awards to students who have excelled in leadership, academics, and displayed exceptional character and spiritual development in their years at the Hive. Each senior will be spoken about by a faculty member. We honored those from Maroon section yesterday, so we will resume today with the seniors in Blue section, followed by those in White and Gray on Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. When all the seniors in the section have been recognized, the finalists, if any, from that section for the Presidential Award, St. Benedict's most prestigious award, will be announced. The winner of the Presidential Award, along with other senior awards, will be announced at Friday's convocation. Before opening the event to our faculty speakers, I ask Father Edwin to start us with a prayer tonight.
Thanks, Didier. Let us pray. Lord, we're grateful for the gift of life, for this opportunity to recognize our seniors for their efforts, their talents, their accomplishments, and their time here with us at the Abbey and at St. Benedict's. We ask a double portion of your spirit that we may be wise, that we may have insight, understanding, long-suffering, prudence, and right judgment, that we might be of a service to those lives that we touch, both today and tonight, and those lives that we will touch as this class of 2020 moves forward. We thank you for their perseverance, for their leadership in this most difficult time in the history of the world. We pray that they may continue to be leaders as they go forth from here to where we know not, but that they always carry the love of God with them so that others may come to know the mystery of the divine through them. We make our prayer as always in your matchless and mighty name, Lord. Let all in accord say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Edwin. Our first student from Blue section today is a representative from Father Valerian, Sean, who will be addressed by Mr. Molina.
Sean is the third of his brothers to come to Benedict's. Adebayo and Tio graduated in the early 2010s before he came to Benedict's as an eighth grader, I believe. Sean was in my wing of Leahy House, and I learned pretty early on that you are a smart, hardworking, and sometimes very silly guy. I also got to see your friendship with Felix grow and deepen during that time. I was really happy to have you on the fencing team, even when you caused me a bunch of headaches. You were a great fencer and a good captain, but you would have been an even better one if you hadn't lost an entire year because of an injury. And I want to set the record straight. Even though you were a really good epéist, you only won a handful of fencing bouts against me, and mostly because I let you. I'm going to miss our food club outings to Maplewood, Montclair, Mitsua, and New York City. I'm never going to forget the time that you, me, Brother Simon, and Felix went to that barbecue restaurant in New York City, and the two of you ate so much that you could barely stand while we were waiting for a train. I'm so proud of your accomplishments thus far, and I'm so grateful for your friendship, and I know you're going to do well at Haverford College. Good luck.
Thanks, Mr. Molina. The next student is Malcolm, who will be spoken about by Mr. Duffy.
Malcolm. Well, here's the difficulty with this format, is that nobody gets to see Malcolm standing next to me and recognize the height difference, which isn't that odd for myself and seniors, except when I had Malcolm in class first, he was in the 8th grade, and we had the same height discrepancy. Malcolm was very quiet when I had him back in the lower division in 8th grade, except I got him to do dramatic readings in class. So whenever we needed something read properly, Malcolm would do this dramatic reading with his deep voice, and everybody would laugh afterwards because it would just lighten the mood. So he moves to the 9th grade, and lo and behold, he winds up in my first elective that I get to teach at Benedict's, Ancient Rome, and I have Malcolm again. So this time, he surprises us. Again, quiet guy in class. He has a presentation on Emperor Claudius, and he brings face masks with him on paper plates that he uses during his presentation on Claudius. I grabbed him after class and I said, Malcolm, we got to talk about the Drama Guild. He showed a little bit of hesitancy, and he disagrees with part of this story, but I know my version's correct. Finally, introduce him to Miss Flynn. He goes to the Drama Guild meeting and works his way up through the ranks until he is Van Helsing in one of the recent productions. I'm very proud, Malcolm, of how you stretched yourself from being the quiet guy. And I know that's an ongoing process, but you stretched yourself, shared your talents with the rest of us. And I know you'll do just fine as you take your talents and go share them next year with the University of Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Our next student is Joao. I will speak about Joao. Joao, you're one of the nicest people I've met. I can say that honestly. Your constant smile and your gentle demeanor are very endearing. Even through your knee injury and rehabilitation, you'd hobble into our office smiling. And you drag yourself and all your bags from Newark Airport to Charlotte Airport to Mobile, Alabama, to Montgomery, Alabama, and back when we went on our college trip. That's a great approach to life. It's a great combination of alegria, I think that's how you say joy in Portuguese, and the Benedict spirit of never giving up. It makes for a great person. Those two qualities, if you take them to St. Leo's University and study just a little bit more, I know you can, you'll have a great experience. I look forward to seeing you one day in Newark or in Niterói. Our next student is Roger. Mr. Cassidy, can you say a few words about Roger, please?
Yes, Roger. You came to us as a freshman and immediately stood out because you were so skinny, but also because you had that high-pitched voice that everybody knew when you would sing the songs and say the cheers during convocation. But you persisted. I know there were people that made fun of you, but you persisted through that and fought through it. You joined the water polo team and the swimming team, and you made your presence known on those teams. This has not been an easy road for you over the years. We know that. But I need to tell a story about you that I think sums up your persistence, and I hope is something that never dies. This year, you had a problem with lateness, as you have a few times, but that problem with lateness hit hard when it was time to go to the Eastern's water polo tournament at the end of the water polo season. I was driving the bus. We were sitting outside the school. Everybody was on the bus, and you were not present. Mr. Henricks and Daryl, the coaches, got to the point and said, you know what? We're not waiting. It's time to go. And we just departed for the U.S. Naval Academy in Maryland without you. We got down there. The students played their first game, and then had a couple of hours of break in between games. Came time to warm up for the second game, and I was sitting in the stands and looked down, and lo and behold, who walks on the deck but you, Roger? You had made your way to Newark Penn Station, jumped on a Greyhound bus, took the bus to Annapolis, got somebody a family member in Annapolis or near Annapolis to pick you up and bring you to the Naval Academy so that you would not let your teammates down. That's persistence. That's what a Benedict's man is all about. I know this hasn't been an easy road. I know you've had hard times through this, but you've persisted. I am so proud of you. Mr. Vespol is so proud of you. And I wish you all the best heading off to Essex County College in the fall. You are right next door. Don't be afraid to stop in and say hi.
Thanks, Mr. Cassidy. Bara is our next guy. And Mr. Delaney, I ask if you can please say a few words about Bara.
Bara, I had the pleasure of working with you for the first time 3 years ago when you transferred in. Bara is one of our many students that we get from overseas. I'm going to say this many times tonight. I have an incredible amount of respect for all of the students that come to us overseas, their bravery to leave behind their friends, their family, their culture, and place their trust and faith in us. Bara, when you first got here, I think you had a surprise at how difficult the transition was and how different this place was from previous schools that you might have attended. Especially, I think you had trouble adjusting academically at first. I think you put all of your effort into basketball, and I know how much that paid off for you on the court. While perhaps maybe you didn't have that same success in the classroom. I had you in class, and I know how capable you are academically. I know how smart you are. I don't know if you were trying to keep that a secret from everyone, right? But I know that, and I'm sorry if I just revealed that secret to everyone. I know your college is undecided, but moving forward, I hope that you can find that balance between books and basketball, a balance I know you're capable of. Watching you play was nothing short of electric and exciting, and I know you're going to continue to do great things on the court. You're an incredible athlete. I feel really bad for whoever has to guard you in the future. Seriously, blink, close your eyes, and Bara's run right by you. Good luck, Bara.
Thanks, Mr. Delaney. Sean, Mr. White, please, a few words about Sean.
Perhaps one of the funniest Sean stories happened outside of the box at a summer practice leading up into the fall season. And the kids are testing on the ergs. And Sean is mid-piece and then starts smiling while he's rowing and, and belts at the top of his lungs. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And then goes on to set a personal record for himself. Sean, you are by far one of the most energetic people I've ever met in my entire life. And everything that you do, you bring positivity and joy to it, not just for yourself, but also to the people around you. And that's a special gift. Not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people can walk into a room and instantaneously make others feel better. And you have that. I'm gonna miss fishing you out of the river when you and Oliver flip in a double. I'm gonna miss you having the comfort of knowing that you strap down the boats when I'm driving 80 miles an hour on Route 95 and not having to worry about them flying off the trailer. I'm gonna miss, those late nights when we're trying to expand the team and you're painting the erg room with me, trying to get things done and make sure that we have a better community and a better spirit for our program. The Sanchez sprint will always be a thing. And you're one of the most reliable captains I've ever had the pleasure of coaching. You're an excellent young man. I wish you all the best at Seton Hall University next year. I know you'll be there with Oliver, popping around every once in a while to make our lives miserable in a fun and pleasant way. So all the best to you, and much love, bud.
Great, Mr. White. Daniel, Father Ed, a few words about Daniel, please.
Who did that? Who muted me? So this is what I have to deal with. I want the parents to realize this. This is what I have to deal with people trying to prevent me from saying what I want to say. And sometimes it's adults and sometimes it's students. Most often it's students. But in this case, I believe it was an adult. It had to be an adult because they're the only ones that have access to this. And I don't believe it was Mr. Jean-Baptiste. It was probably Lopina, who did it, trying to keep me quiet. But I want parents to know this is what I have to deal with. Who was I talking about? Oh, Daniel. So Daniel's got connections. Cousins gone to school here, and he's been a steady mainstay in the leadership this year with in tremendously adverse situations. No one expected when we started this to have to go to school virtually from March on. And these leaders this year have done a tremendous job. I'd be interested in hearing Dr. Cassidy's evaluation because he comes the closest to Father Mark in terms of evaluating these kinds of situations. And I think these guys have been over the top good. Now, we haven't had anybody else to compare it to. But even the virtual convocations, that same old face is there every single morning, no matter what, of Daniel to make this thing work and to keep it going. So I'm very, very, very grateful for his steadiness in the classroom, for his steadfastness as a leader. And a lot of leadership is just being visible and being present to the people that you're leading. And Daniel was certainly that all of the time. And as I say, every time you turned on your computer in the morning for Convo, some faces may have changed, but Daniel was always there. So I'm thankful to him. I'm grateful for his willingness to take the time to be of service as a leader. And this is just the beginning because you're going to get pressed, Daniel, over and over and over again to be a leader as you move from here to college and then on in life, in a family and a neighborhood, on a job. And who knows where the Lord will lead you. But don't shrink from the leadership talents that you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Ed. Our next student is Xavier. Ms. Cronz, Xavier is yours.
So it's a little known fact that when semesters start, teachers like to compare rosters. They converse about students that they have taught and give advice to teachers that are about to teach those students. And at the beginning of this school year, when I was sharing my roster and said that Xavier was on my roster, the teacher I was talking to said, "Wow, Xavier, he is such a good kid." And I have to agree. Xavier, you're easygoing, you're kind, and you're simple. There were definitely a few times in pre-calculus where I made you ask a question because you didn't want to cause any trouble by asking it yourself. You don't ask a lot of other people, and you give a lot back, especially through your music. And my goal was to be able to quote one of your songs for you today, but you're too good at rapping and you say the words too fast. So the best I could do is put some of your song titles together. So the quote I made for you is, "Only time will tell where to go, but when you got visions of a real one, all the things are possible." Xavier, I know your plans aren't set yet for next year, but I wish you all the best with whatever you decide, and I hope you come back to the Northeast real soon to say hi. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ms. Cronz. Mr. Adebato, you've got two guys in a row, Emmanuel and Brian.
So in this reflection, I'm going to talk about Emmanuel, who is a really good person. And so, my brothers and sisters, I invite you to pay attention because God really loves us, and I invite you to listen. So that is how I would have started this if I were Emmanuel when he's giving an admonition at Mass, which in my opinion is one of the most entertaining sights to see. I first met Emmanuel when he joined the Gravy ministry last year. And as much as I enjoy making fun of him, I'm incredibly grateful for the service he's offered through the ministry, but especially for his boldness in witnessing to his faith. I was incredibly delighted, yet not surprised, to find out Emmanuel would enter the seminary earlier this year to discern his vocation. Emmanuel has a sincere desire to know God and respond to whatever it is that he's called to do. And if he continues to ask for the grace of humility and receptivity, I'm certain that he will be perpetually surprised by the creativity of God's initiative in his life. Pray for us when you go to the Redemptoris Mater Seminary in Australia. Best of luck.
Your next charge, Mr. Adebato, is Brian.
When I found out that we had a new seminarian joining our school, I immediately made a bunch of assumptions about him based on all the standard neocat seminarian stereotypes. But as it usually goes with neocats, there's always more beyond the surface. And this wasn't exactly easy to see with Brian. He consistently missed class in the beginning of the semester, and when he was present, he rarely had anything to say. But things changed once I asked the 3 seminarians to share their vocation stories with the Gravy ministry members. And I was amazed to see how much an experience of faith can make you feel so familiar with someone you barely even know. Brian's journey demonstrates how brave and fearless he is in responding to God's initiative in his life, even when the circumstances seem stacked against him. I pray that he continues being open to recognizing God's call, no matter how difficult or challenging the circumstances may be, and that his openness allow him to share that joy of his vocation with others. So, Brian, pray for us when you attend seminary in Orense, Spain next year.
Emmanuel and Brian were representatives of Father William, and I have the pleasure of speaking about the 3rd representative of Father William, John Paul. John Paul, what can I say? You drive me nuts. You are one bundle of energy going in a million directions at once. You'll ask me a question, and in the middle of my answering that question, you ask me a different question about something completely unrelated. You yes me to death, and then you do your own thing anyway. But I know that all of this is because you've got a mind that's constantly going, curious and searching. You're bursting with energy to talk about what you learned, and that's a great spirit. And this year, you learned to channel that energy in the best way in class. You're on track to earn between a 3.5 and a 3.6 this year. That's a tremendous improvement over your past performance, and I'm proud of you for that. So I'm proud of you for being able to focus when you came to the realization that to get to your dreams, you need to get the grades that you're capable of. You've transformed yourself as a student. Now take your new self to college. Slow down just a little bit when you're doing your thinking and your writing. Listen a little bit more, and you're going to succeed at St. Peter's. If you decide later that you're ready to apply to the Naval Academy, I'll be ready to help you become the kind of student who can make it there. So good luck at St. Peter's, and keep in touch. Our next student is Daniel, and we return to you, Mr. Adebato.
So Father Daniel, as we call him, has the privilege of being the most annoying student I've taught in my long 6 years at St. Benedict's. But Daniel is not like any other annoying student. He actually turns annoyance into an art form. There were numerous occasions when Daniel would keep annoying me until the point that I started screaming at him, only for him to criticize me for not screaming at him more often. Perhaps more memorable than all these moments was the day that he called me last summer when I happened to be in a very nasty mood. Daniel was slanted to be the Gravy Ministry's president during the following academic year, and he called to tell me that he had disappointing news. He would no longer be able to serve as president because he discerned that he was being called to enter the seminary. This news turned my day upside down, not because it brought upon me the burden of having to find a new president, but because I was overjoyed by this reminder that even when I am frustrated or in a bad mood, God is still working. Perhaps what's most amazing about this was the reminder that God calls us as we are, no matter how weird, obnoxious, or annoying we may be, and that no amount of human strength or genius can accomplish as much as someone's yes, a simple act of obedience to God's will. So that being said, I'm so excited to see where your yes will bring you in the future as you continue at the seminary in Denver, Colorado. Best of luck.
Thanks, Mr. Adebato. Greg Anthony. Mr. Delaney, he's yours.
Hey, Greg. So you and I, we got to know each other well this year, didn't we? So I had the pleasure of having you in the fall for English. Loved having you in my class. And then in the winter, when I saw you were on my criminal justice roster, I smiled. I think sometimes the bad thing, the negative thing about teaching the seniors is you don't really have that much of a relationship with them the first 3 years, right? But we definitely made up for lost time. You were a part of a group of students, you, James, Jahari, Malachi, right, that just always succeeded in just annoying me, but in a really good way. And I always pretended you guys annoyed me, but you didn't really annoy me. I'm gonna miss the time we had together. I always enjoyed the times after class that you stayed behind to play videos, look up track stats, and just waste time, but waste time together, right? Your energy and charisma is contagious. I think this year I only saw you in a bad mood once. Given that it's your senior year, it's a pretty big accomplishment. You're a great student in my classes when you weren't being annoying. I regret not being able to watch you compete on the track more. I hope to turn on the TV sometime in the next 4 years and watch you sprinting or hurling on ESPN. You can run faster over hurdles than I can without them, which is annoying to me. But hopefully someday I'll catch up to you. Good luck next year at Ryder, buddy. I know you're going to kill it.
Thanks, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Molina, you get to speak about Matt.
I remember driving up the hill on William Street one morning and noticing a Tesla Model S parked on the street and thinking to myself, who is crazy enough to park a Tesla on William Street? Matt is crazy enough to do that. Matt came to St. Benedict's twice. He was an LD back when the middle division was called that and it was all boys. Matt was one of the privileged few to have me as an English teacher. I don't remember how good you were at diagramming sentences, but I do remember you being one of the smallest and one of the most engaged students in the classroom. This school year, Matt returned as a postgrad, still one of the most engaged students, but now very tall. By all accounts, Matt is a great guy and someone who deeply cares about the people in his life. His soccer coach, Owusu, said about Matt, even though he is very fortunate, he's very protective and giving to those who are less fortunate. He is the type of person you can count on as a teammate, a friend, and as a brother. Matt, although your time here was shorter than we would have liked, it was great seeing you in the field house and in the hallways around school. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversations about Tesla, and I am sad I didn't get to have you in my physics class. You've had such great experiences going to school internationally and playing soccer at such a high level. Keep using your talents and skills to also help others as much as possible. Good luck at Columbia next year.
Thanks, Mr. Molina. Richard is next, and I asked Mr. Duffy if he can say a few words.
Okay, Richard. Richard's another guy Mr. Molina just talked about coming from the lower divisions. Richard was there also with me. Many would label you as shy, but they're certainly not aware of the struggles and obstacles that you have faced thus far in your life. Half of your story would cripple most people if they knew it, but I've always been impressed that it hasn't crippled you. That's why I label you as one of my heroes. Your quiet perseverance is an inspiration to me. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge your supporting cast you've had. Your aunt has always been there for you every step of the way. And I know that you lean on her to get through some difficult times. For me, the most moving moments for you is not back in 8th grade when I had you in class. It was when you were a UD1 and you signed up and participated in the Stage Rage project during spring phase. The courage that it took you to share your story with everyone, especially since, remember where I started this, most would label you as shy. So this shy guy from the classroom is suddenly on the stage sharing his story with everybody else was truly amazing. So stay in touch as you continue your studies next year at ECC. Best of luck.
Thanks, Mr. Duffy. I will speak about the last member of Father William and the first member of Father Thomas. Fauzi. Fauzi, you just get the job done in your calm, understated way. You're, in a way, a sleeping giant in the class. You started your Benedict's career sleeping, earning a 2.8 GPA freshman year, which for you is low. Then you woke up, and slowly but surely, you've grown as a student and as a person. You have quietly fed your mind, body, and spirit. Each year, you increase your GPA by at least four tenths of a point. You did summer STEM internships. You started wrestling your UD 1 year and stuck with it through senior year. And you studied the Quran intensely outside of school. Most importantly, though, you spoke up for yourself this year. When I didn't approach you about taking classes at NJIT, you approached me. And then you went and earned a B plus in your engineering graphics course there. That move may have been the cherry on top that earned you acceptance to Lehigh and other very competitive engineering schools. My advice for you is to keep developing your whole self, as you've been doing, but to also do more of that advocating for yourself and be more of a vocal presence. Your talents are too good to be kept a secret. When you speak up more, you'll grow even more, and you'll touch others with your talents. Trust me, it doesn't come easily to me either, but you'll see the benefits. Good luck, Fauzi. And then I get to talk about Amos. Amos, between you and your mom, I've gotten to practice my Haitian Creole more than I have over the rest of my entire life. You two are one heck of a duo. But it's time for you to become a solo act, Amos. It's time for you to take ownership of your life and realize that you will be measured by what you do in the classroom and at your place of work. How often you show up, at what time you show up, and the consistency and quality of your work are what matter in the end. And professors and bosses don't listen to excuses. You often don't even get the opportunity to even voice those excuses when you're in a job or at a university. You have to show that you have shown that you're more than capable of earning good grades, Amos. Ms. Muller, Ms. Gallo, and other teachers say that you bring great ideas to the class, but great ideas have to be combined with great preparation and great attendance. Figure out how to structure your life so that preparation and attendance are possible, Amos. I know that it's more easily said than done, but that's what must be done to achieve what you and your mom want for you. If you need an ear and a hand, I'll always be here, but you've got to take the first step. Good luck, Amos. Our next student is Anthony. Mr. White, please say a few words about Anthony.
Anthony, you are the last of your brothers. It was a pleasure to teach and coach all three of you. And they will hate me for saying this, but it's true. You are the most talented, and you are you are the best of the three. Saying that absolutely comes with responsibility. And I know that's something that you've struggled with over the years. You've definitely gotten better at it as you've gotten older. And I'm incredibly proud of you for that. I know it's been a struggle between you, your family, Father Mark, trying to figure out plans, but you have so much potential athletically, academically. You could literally do whatever you wanted to if you put your mind to it. Just remember that you have an obligation. You have an obligation to reach beyond the limits of your potential. Okay, I know that because having a lightweight 4 this year was predicated on you being able to complete the training that was necessary and for you to get to the weight class that you needed to be in. And everyone, whether they said it to you publicly or not, everyone's like, oh, there's no way Anthony's going to make those sacrifices for other people. There's no way he's going to do it. And you did. And you did. And you did it without flinching. And that was hands down one of the most powerful things that I've ever seen from you, because it said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get the mission completed, to have the people around me achieve what they need to achieve. And that says a lot. That says a lot about you as a human being. And you need to feed into that and find the hard path and walk it, because you can. So all the best at SUNY Albany next year. Stay away from the females. I know it's going to be hard for you. Stay focused, and wish you all the best, okay? Keep in touch. Much love.
Thanks, Mr. White. Our next student is Aiden. Mr. Cassidy, Aiden is yours.
Aiden, you have been a great friend to me, and I appreciate that. And you have demonstrated over the years your tremendous talent in just about every kind of way. Let me speak a little bit more about that. I want to be clear. Aiden, you are one of the most talented guys that I've worked with. You are talented in the classroom, talented in the pool, talented as a leader, talented as a friend, talented all around. And at times that comes through. At other times, you allow distractions to get in the way. And your mom knows early on, you relied way too much on your mother to fight battles for you. And we had this discussion and this fight before. And then you grew out of that. And then you discovered yourself and your own voice, and you allowed that to be a source of strength for you. As you got towards senior year, I know things didn't work out quite the way you expected them to. You expected certain things to happen that didn't come your way. And I think that you allowed that to distract you. Not academically. You still did what you had to do academically, but I think in other areas, you allowed that to hold you back. Don't let anybody take away your voice, your power, your talents. Don't let anybody slow you down. You are extremely capable. And when I say one of the most talented guys I've worked with, I firmly believe that. You are capable, and I expect to hear great things from you. You've shown it to us consistently you've shown it to us inconsistently at Benedict's. And now I expect to hear from it about you being very consistent in showing your talents at Georgetown in the years to come. Keep in touch with us.
Thanks, Mr. Cassidy. Father Edwin now has the job of speaking about 5 guys in a row, beginning with Tyler.
Tyler, like Danny, is a legacy person here with us. His older brother went to school here, and we're happy that Tyler decided to follow him. Really, I had very little contact with Tyler through the years until this year, and we began to have conversations much more frequently. This is senior year, and he's growing little by little into being a real gentleman. I'm grateful for my relationship with him, for my friendship with him. I hope I don't lose it when he graduates. I hope he continues to remain in touch, and that he continues to be involved actively in the life of Caldwell University in the fall, and doesn't lose his connection here with us. He'll be close enough that he can stop in, and I look forward to the opportunities to be updated on how he's progressing through life, and that we hope that somebody else, their life is improved by meeting Tyler. So thanks, Tyler. Thanks for this year. I wish it happened sooner, but I'm grateful that it happened when it did.
Your next guy is Moses.
Oh, Moses, what can we say? Moses is one of the characters at Convocation that always makes Convo fun. Every year, if it's a really successful year, you always have somebody in Convo that can do the zany things and lift the tone, so to speak. Or you can rely on them. If you start to pick on them a little bit, they'll respond, and it helps everybody. So Moses was that certainly this year. And then he really discovered that his size was not a burden, but was a benefit. And he was a contributor in a significant way to the wrestling team. And he had been around it, but never really, I don't think, committed to it like he did this year. And he and Sekou wound up being a tag team, so to speak, at heavyweight for us this year. And Moses won some very big matches. And the more confidence he got, the better he got. And I think that's a good thing for you to remember, Moses, that when you take risks, surprising things will happen for you. If you don't hold back, but believe in yourself, trust in yourself, and in the talents that God gave you, you will be surprised by what you accomplish. So as you go forth from here and sort out your future plans, don't be afraid to take a risk and see what happens. And be surprised that the Lord will make exciting and surprising things happen in your life if you're willing to take a chance. So thanks for taking a chance this year. Thanks for trusting Coach DiPiano and the coaches on the wrestling team. And continue to use that as you move forward in life. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks for your presence at Convo in a unique way. I'm grateful for all of that and look forward to what you have in store, what you accomplish in the future.
Father Edwin, I've got another wrestling team member for you, Tommy.
Tom was with us as a ninth grader and was a pretty good wrestler for us, and then left to go to public school in his town and proceeded to completely screw up his high school experience while he continued to wrestle. In his senior year at the public school, he won the district wrestling tournament, went on to compete in Atlantic City, won some matches there, but did absolutely zero academically in school. And then one day I got a call from Tom, and he said, Father Ed, I want to talk to you. So we spoke. He said, I need to come back. I got to finish school. And that wasn't possible for him because he'd already been in high school for 4 years. So he came back to do a fifth year here and had to change radically, which was not easy for him. And he did that, was an All-American for us on the wrestling team, had a great wrestling season, learned how not to be a great student, but learned how to be a student, which he had never learned to do before. And I'm proud. I'm actually more proud of him as a student. So the struggles that were present there for him, his hard work at becoming a student. I'm more proud of that than I am of his wrestling prowess. And because of his hard work in the classroom, which did not come easily for Tom, he'll be able to study at New Jersey City University in the fall and continue his wrestling career. He's a very, very talented wrestler. I don't worry about that part of it. He works hard at that. And I just want him to continue to become a better and better and better student. And remember, C and B students, C students, they say, run major corporations. So stick with it, Tom. I'm grateful for your trust in us. We had no idea where this was going to go when we first spoke last spring about your coming back. And I'm very, very, very proud of what you made of it and the contributions you made to Benedict's on the wrestling mat and the commitment you made to yourself to become a student. So thank you very much. I'm proud of you, and keep it up. Don't give up, and don't fall asleep on yourself at New Jersey City. Thanks.
You're on a roll, Father Ed. Another Father Thomas wrestler, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin also made himself a wrestler. Kevin was referred to in his ninth grade year by Mr. Maceo as Honey Bun. He was a little pudgy little guy who came out for wrestling, and he's not a pudgy little guy anymore. He was a significant contributor on the wrestling team, more frequently as a workout partner than he was in the lineup all the time. But wrestling rooms, if anybody knows anything about wrestling rooms are only as good as the workout partners that guys have. And Kevin pushed the guys that he competed against every day to be as good as they were. And our wrestling team this year finished in the top 10 in the National Prep Wrestling Tournament. And a lot of that can be attributed to guys like Kevin. Teams are only as good, Joe Kay used to say, as their substitutes. And there's no I in team. And he would make us spell it. T-E-A-M, coach. There's no I. So, and Kevin was a perfect example of that. It was never about Kevin. It was always about the team. And in fact, his really great prowess is as a writer for the Benedict News and the dreaded Benedict News. And Kevin was a mainstay on the staff of the Benedict News and in the editorial team of the Benedict News all year. And was a busy guy in the senior class. There's no way we can thank him adequately for his contributions in the wrestling room in a quiet way, or his contributions with the Benedict News. We know in this country right now that the press is under duress. A democracy only works if there's a free press. Whether they make up fake news, real news, or whatever, you need a free press. Fake news only means that you didn't agree with the news that was reported. That's what that means. So I'm grateful for the work that Kevin has done with the Benedict News, and also grateful for his self-sacrifice, so to speak, in the wrestling room to make the wrestling team better. So thanks, Kevin. It'll be a long time before we have another guy like you, I think. And I'm thankful for all of your contributions here. Honey bun.
Father Owen, you've got Malachi.
Yeah, Malachi and I used to pass in the hallway all the time. And Malachi around here is best known as a sprinter on the track team. And he was enormously dedicated to that. The track team, probably more than any other, well, the spring sports, but in general, experienced a tremendous disappointment this year in not being able to compete in the nationals and in the spring season with a team that was very, 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 very good. But those disappointments, Malachi, come in life. You have no idea what life holds for you. So the ability to deal with the disappointments and to move forward is a great gift, and you have that gift. I'm thankful for it. That what you provided for us, the example that you gave to us, even in the midst of disappointment. I'm proud of your tremendous athletic ability and your leadership on the track team, and that you continue to be a good student. So as you move forward at Delaware State, that they know that they have somebody that can be a leader, that can stand up for the sake of the community, and that can be a voice for people of color. We need that in this country desperately right now. And Delaware State's a great place to continue to learn how to do that. I'm proud of you. I'm grateful for our encounters in the hallway. And I hope you continue to thrive and to participate and compete at Delaware State. I look forward to following you on the track.
Thanks, Father Edwin. Mr. Delaney, you have the pleasure of speaking about Jonathan.
So yes, I have the pleasure of speaking about our fearless leader this year, our senior group leader, John. John, I have to say that the leadership this year was the best that I've seen in the 4 years since I've returned to Benedict as a teacher. Perhaps this year's class will be even compared to the class of 2002, considering some of the all-time greats. We'll see. I know your leadership was a big part of their success. Over the last year, I've had the pleasure, I've gotten to know you, teaching you and coaching you in the CrossFit box. You became part of a very brave core group of students and faculty that suffered together in those early cold mornings of the winter during those CrossFit workouts. In this last year, I've seen commitment from you. I've seen academic excellence at times. I've seen perseverance. And I saw your leadership. And I know you're going to take these skills with you to Ithaca College, where you're going to do great things, John.
Thanks, Mr. Delaney. Our last student from Father Thomas, Joel. Mr. Delaney, you're up again.
Joel, the first thing I got to say is that I just respect the heck out of you, man. I've said this before. I always have respect for the kids that come here from overseas and leave behind everything that they know, their friends, their families, their loved ones, in hope of making a better life for themselves. And you come from I know a special batch of those kids from the Tuichi program in Santa Cruz, Bolivia. I know that. I had the pleasure of being part of that program when I was a student. Right. So I know the values that you have, that you're all about. I remember when you first came to Benedict in transfer orientation. You were nervous, you were shy, you were probably in shock, and you could barely speak a word of English. And today, that is not the man that I see in front of me right now. I see a completely transformed person. You're confident. You're a brilliant young man. I know that this is all due to your hard work. I understand that, especially in English classes, that you often have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard as other students, just to understand the material. And I know some of the material I made you read was hard. It was college level material. And not only did you get by, not only did you understand it, but you excelled. You were one of the best students I had in class this year, and you earned every ounce of it. I know your family back home in Bolivia is proud of you. Your teachers and your coaches are proud. I'm proud of you and your accomplishments here. I wish we had you for 4 years. Your bravery, your hard work, your dedication, and the trust that you've placed in us here truly inspired me. I know you're undecided right now for college between St. Vincent's or Drew, but wherever you go, I know you're going to continue that hard work and you're going to excel. Good luck, my friend. I'm going to miss you.
Ms. Torto's got a lot of guys to speak about, beginning with Adrian.
So I'm really glad I get the opportunity to speak about so many guys from the best group in the school, Father Timothy Dwyer. So Adrian grew into an academic leader in our group during his time at St. Benedict's. He put a lot of effort into kicking himself in the rear when he was dissatisfied with his performance in school. And he not only became more self-motivated, but actively developed himself as a student through consistency in his study. This journey of self-improvement directly benefited the members of our group, as Adrian has always been really willing to help someone with their work, whether or not they ask for it. Adrian is just as passionate about his family and about soccer. And this passionate spirit that he cultivates for things that he believes in doing will certainly suit him as an enlisted member in the Air Force. So, Adrian, good luck in boot camp in that Texas summer heat.
Thank you, Ms. Torto. Our next member of Father Timothy is Felix. And Mr. Molina, you've got Felix.
Felix, I don't think I've met a more stubborn guy when it comes to working towards what you set your mind to. But what's most impressive to me is the humility you display when you try your best and don't get what you work so hard for. I was so heartbroken when you didn't become an All-American this year. When I asked you about it, you were disappointed, but quickly praised your teammates who won. I remember you telling me how proud you were of the team as a whole this year. You didn't let personal defeat ruin team success. You are also one of the most intellectually curious people I've ever talked to. Having conversations with you while we were out on one of our food club outings is one of the main highlights from my last 5 years. One of my good friends, professor of theology at Notre Dame, met you when you were a freshman. He told me after an evening of conversation and tutoring that Notre Dame needs more students like you. I couldn't agree more. Whenever I come away from conversations with you, I tell myself I need to be more like Felix and ask better questions about the world we live in. Felix, you carry a lot of hardship in your life, but you almost never let anyone know about it. You participated in Stage Rage one spring phase, and I thought that was one of the bravest things you've ever done. You inspire me, so I know there are a lot of other people your story and experiences could inspire. One of my hopes is that you continue to find ways to share with others your experiences and share your hardships. Felix, you're a great student, a great leader, a great wrestler, a great friend. I'm going to miss you like crazy. Don't be a stranger, and I wish you well as you go on to Wesleyan University.
All said, Mr. Molina. We're returning to Ms. Torto, who has some words about Jonathan.
So if I walk into my office and there is a curled up ball of teenagers sleeping in my bowl chair, it's Jonathan. Jonathan and I have been in the same group together for a long time, and we have smirked together. He has really the most delightful smirk I've ever seen. Cried together and laughed together for years, usually at the expense of others. However, Jonathan dealt with some disappointments this year in a way that I can only call graceful and dignified. He never withheld his talents from the community because something didn't go his way. In fact, he doubled down on them, helping to anchor the Benedict News as co-editor and rising to the occasion to coordinate excellent coverage of the community's experience with this pandemic. After all, this is the same guy who went out and got on buses to interview riders who were stuck in the November snowpocalypse 2 years ago. I am so proud of Jonathan, not just because he is a beautiful writer with an intrepid spirit, but because he understands more about handling the vicissitudes of life than many people 3 times his age. Jonathan, I'm going to miss you so much. I think I should put my name on your chair. Say honor of. And don't be a stranger when you're down the street at Rutgers, Newark next year.
Great, Ms. Tordo. Mr. Delaney, you have Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. So, as you guys know, Kevin's one of our transfer students, one of our many transfer students from Brazil. And much like our group of transfers from Brazil, from Bolivia, the Brazilians are always a special group of kids. They work hard, they're incredible on the field, and they all have big hearts. Kevin, you're no exception. I think your transition to Benedict's was a little bit harder for you than maybe some of the other Brazilians, especially academically. I remember when you came to me in transfer orientation, and I know how hard it was for you to get to where you are today, even though it might not show on your transcripts. You had a lot of success on the soccer field. The few times I got to watch you play, I was super impressed with your skills. You basically dominated the game that I watched. And I know how dedicated you were to that soccer program. When you first came to my class this year in the winter for English, I thought initially that maybe you were not ready. That maybe you didn't have the fundamental English skills to succeed in my class. But then I started to push you. And you responded, right? And you dug yourself out of one of the biggest holes I've ever seen a student put themselves in my class. And then I realized Kevin isn't incapable. Kevin's lazy, right? But you overcame that and you kept on digging yourself out of that hole, right? And you proved to me and you proved to yourself that you can do the work and be successful. I'm proud of the work that you put in my class. And I've really enjoyed having you in my class this semester. Good luck next year at ASA College in Brooklyn. It's just on the other side of the river from where I live in Manhattan, so you better come and say hi to me.
Thanks, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Cassidy, you've got Dario.
One of the gentle giants, as I would call them. Big presence, but anything I've ever seen of you is nothing but the nicest, calmest individual around. I don't know that I've ever seen you get upset, truly upset, worked up at least. I've seen you have emotions, but never play it out with anybody else. Watching you in backpacking was interesting because when you were asked to be a commander, I wasn't sure if you could handle it. Again, because of your calmness and niceness, I was a little concerned. But then I watched you and you were able to connect with guys so well. You were able to relate to guys so well. I was really, really impressed. So I want to congratulate you for that. I know you were a presence on the swim team and a friend to everybody involved. My one suggestion, I think that you don't always have the full confidence in yourself. I don't know that you always believe that you are as capable as you are. And I really want you to understand that about yourself. You can do great things. Just believe in yourself. Others believe in you, and you will make it happen. Wish you all the best at Caldwell University next year.
Thank you, Mr. Cassidy. We're going to go back a step. I'd, by mistake, skipped Paul, and I'll ask Ms. Tordo to speak about Paul.
Paul is going to Notre Dame next year to study economics as a Questbridge scholar. It's a highly competitive program and speaks volumes about his academic abilities and certainly how he's leveraged them to achieve at a very high level. However, if you read his brag sheet, he says he's most proud of his work as a freshman counselor during his UD1 year, and that speaks volumes about his character. Working with the freshmen, whether as the senior freshman leader or as a counselor, is truly the hardest job in the school. It does not come with a lot of glory, but you can bet you're going to hear it if any of your freshmen are messing up. Paul's calming personality, his patience, and his willingness to give his time to others helped his freshmen to trust him, and therefore trust what we were doing in the school. In this way, he helped set them up for their own success, both at that time and in the future. Paul, thank you for your service to our group, and good luck next year at Notre Dame.
Awesome, Ms. Tordo. You are up again, and you have the honor of speaking about Raphael.
Raphael has been a stalwart presence in the pool during his entire time at St. Benedict's. Even when there were days where he was feeling less than enthusiastic about getting in the pool, he honored his commitment to his team and literally jumped in with both feet. That showed a lot about his character. Raphael is persistent, consistent, and loyal. He's also been an academic leader in our group and set a good example for both our older and younger members over the past few years. Raph worked to cultivate trust with the younger guys so that they felt comfortable accepting his help when they needed it. And it's certainly easy to feel at ease around Raph because he's got this ready laugh, a willingness to engage with people, and a fabulous smile. Raph, I wish you a great experience at St. John's in Minnesota next year. You've earned every bit of it.
Thank you, Ms. Tordo, but we're not done with you. Lewis is yours.
Something that I've always admired about Lewis is that he isn't afraid to ask questions. Big or small, simple or complicated, he will ask them all and keep asking them until he gets the answers he needs to complete a task or understand a situation. Another thing I admire about Lewis is how hard he works. He works hard at his job at the restaurant, in the pool as a swimmer, and in and out of the classroom on his academics. And he also works hard at putting himself back on track when he feels himself slipping away from his goals. Lewis has a kind and gentle heart. His concern for his mom's well-being is really beautiful to see, as are the things he does to lighten her load. And Lewis, I encourage you to use that superpower of yours to bring positive change into the world in whatever you choose to do. I am very proud of you, and good luck next year at college.
All right, Ms. Tordo, we can let you off the hook. We're done with your guys from Father Timothy. Ms. Kranz, we're moving on to Father Celestin, and the first guy up is Hezi, and he's yours.
Thank you, Didier. So I know this joke was made last night with Maroon section, but hopefully Hezi is here as well. Hezi had this special ability of always being a little bit late for class and coming in looking like he got a little bit stuck in a windstorm outside because his glasses were crooked on his face and his papers were all over the place. Hezi, it's been really fun to see you slowly but surely break out of your shell as a member of our group over these last few years. You were a huge help this year with our Candygram sales, and that so many times someone would come to the table looking to buy one and would walk away buying many more than that. So maybe you have a sales job in your future. My advice to you is not to worry about what other people think moving forward. You are a very thoughtful man, and you think before you speak, which is a quality that many people don't follow moving forward. Also, just please do me a favor and keep your notes organized in college. One notebook per course, please. Although your plans for next year aren't finalized, I look forward to seeing what you do. Congratulations on graduating.
Thanks, Ms. Kranz. Mr. Delaney, Angel is next, and he is yours.
Hey, Angel. Where to start? So many things I could say about you. First, I was lucky enough to have you both semesters this year. English in the fall, criminal justice in the winter. And I'm really sorry that our paths didn't really cross until this year. Much like a lot of the other seniors, right? I feel that I missed a lot of time with you that I would love to have back. You're such a brilliant young man. You're talented in the theater. You're gifted intellectually. when you put pen to paper, it's incredible to see the ideas your mind is capable of engendering. You're one of those students in English that always challenged me. You always had a unique perspective on the characters, the plots, or the themes, and you never accepted what I had to teach just at face value. My biggest piece of advice to you, never stop doing that. Never stop challenging ideas. Never accept what a teacher or a professor tells you without first examining that idea the unique way that you do. Never forget that your opinion matters. Never stop writing, because I expect to read great things from you in the future. When you came to my criminal justice class in the winter, you brought that same fun-loving energy from last semester. You became the criminal justice Kahoot champion this year, joining past grade champions like your classmates Anthony and Ruben, and names from previous classes like Jack Napoli, Juliano Gomez. I'm so proud of the work that you accomplished. Your family is proud. Your teachers are proud. I know that Billy is proud. And I am so glad that you will be attending Montclair next year.
Thanks, Mr. Delaney. Our next guy is Andres, and he is mine to speak about. Andres, I can't believe that we had a blow up in the first days that you were in my college guidance class as a UD2. I honestly don't remember what it was about and why I threw you out of class, but I do remember that you came back and apologized. And today it's inconceivable to me that you could have done something to set me off. You've shown yourself in all ways to be a very humble person. I haven't had a chance to see you play baseball, but I know that a person doesn't get a scholarship to Tulane for baseball unless if he's not athletically gifted. But I never see you boasting about that or taking it for granted. I'm glad that you've appreciated your 2 years here. It's not easy to join Benedict's halfway through high school and buy into all of our community and brotherhood, but you've done just that. So I'm proud of you for that. I hope that you find at Tulane that you get just as good a fit of schools, that your arm heals completely, and that you have an awesome academic experience and also a great athletic and social experience there as well. All the best to you. Our next student is Malachi. Mr. White, can you please say a few words about Malachi?
Mally, our first interaction was you coming down to the box your freshman year. You were 5'8", little pudgy. And I remember Miss Stafford looking over to me and saying, "Cut him. Just cut him. He's useless." And I'm really glad that I didn't listen. You're 6'3" now, and one hell of a student athlete altogether. You need to be careful though. You had moments in this year where you shined in ways that I never could have imagined. And you also had moments this year where we were really concerned. I met your mom. You were there when we were right in front of the 520 entrance. And she looked at your grades from the fall and says, "Oh my God, my son has a 4.0, which wasn't surprising. And then you slipped a lot in the winter, a lot, especially in math and calc. And you need to be careful because you have so much potential. And I know you've already grown vertically out of your brother's shadow. So just don't doubt yourself and what you're capable of. One of the best things you have, one of the best skills that you naturally have, is the capacity to surround yourself with very talented people. When you move on to Rutgers Newark, I know it's going to be hard to see Anthony and Ibrahim go down to UDEL without you, but stay close to them and maintain those friendships because that's going to carry you through.
You'll be close enough for me to bother you from time to time. Don't be a stranger, okay? Much love to you and your family, mom and dad, all that you guys have contributed to the team over the years.
Thanks, Mr. White. Joshua. Mr. Molina, Joshua is yours.
I didn't really get to know Josh much until this school year. Josh was not the most engaged physics student, nor was he the hardest working student in the class. But Josh is a deeply compassionate person. I assigned an unconventional Easter break project for my seniors during the quarantine, asking them to capture what their life is like during this crazy time. In Josh's blog post, he wrote a lot about his niece and nephew, taking care of them, helping them with their homework, and also that they can get a little annoying too. Josh wrote in his blog, "My nephew always ends up running around and bothering me constantly, but I still love my nephew and niece and will always look out for them whenever they need me, as any uncle should do. I really enjoy helping my family because they always help me out when I need them." Josh, I know your time at St. Benedict's hasn't been the smoothest, especially academically, but I think if you keep your focus on doing good for your family and work a little harder on academics, that you're going to be just fine. Good luck at Essex County College in the fall.
Thank you, Mr. Molina. Our next student in Father Celestin is Tiago, and I will speak about Tiago. Tiago, you very well may be the grumpiest Brazilian person I've ever met. You're a talented person in all areas. You're a solid student, you're an accomplished soccer player, and you're a musician. I always admire guys like you who, on top of dedicating themselves to our really challenging soccer program, find a way to develop other talents and do things like play in our jazz band. You and I have dealt with some tough situations over the past few months, and I'll reiterate here what I've told you during our one-on-one conversations. You've got to trust people's motives a little bit more, try to see things from their perspective a little bit more, and be a little bit more patient with other people. Others recognize your talents and want to help, but we're all imperfect and may make some mistakes as we try to guide you. So you've got to focus on what is at a person's core rather than on each of their individual acts. That is surely what I most recognize about you, your solid core. So do the same for others and you'll be okay. I wish you all the best in the future. Hope to see you again here in the States. Our next student is Sanjay, and Ms. Kranz, he's yours to talk about.
Thank you. So this class is actually the class that I came to Benedict's with. And so being that you were freshmen then I arrived, your freshman draft was also my first experience with the draft. And Mr. Vespel actually was teaching me about the draft before it happened that year. And he told me that there was a freshman that was on the water polo team that seemed pretty good, and that he was thinking about taking them. And because I didn't really know how the draft worked, that was the only thing I could contribute. So I told my group we had to get that kid, and that kid was you, Sanjay. I know your academics started a little rough, but you have worked very hard and earned multiple 4.0 semesters. And not only did you do that, but you used your story of your rough beginning and your hard work now to motivate students, just like Mr. Vespel did with his athletic story. You were our group leader in junior year, and you texted me and Mr. Henricks every morning to see whether or not we are going to be in convo, and I really appreciated that start to my day. One of your most endearing characteristics is the fact that you are allergic to DJ, and you would still pet him and get a runny nose and red eyes in my class, and you wouldn't leave or make DJ leave because you wanted everyone else to enjoy his characteristics. I'm so proud of you for how hard you have worked over these past 4 years, and you've earned your spot at Rutgers Newark next year, and I know this is only the start of your educational journey, and you're going to do fantastic things. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ms. Kranz. I'm going to call on you again to close out Father Celestin and the entire blue section by speaking about Raymond.
Definitely. So Raymond, for the first 2.5 years of group, you sat in the same spot in the back of the room with your hood up and hair in your face and didn't talk to anyone. And then slowly but surely in your junior year, you started to come out your shell. And even when you had weird things to say, you realized that people thought it was funny, so it was okay to share. This past semester, you have impressed me so much with your mathematical skills, and I wish I knew about them sooner because I would have pushed you to take calculus every single day in group. Moving forward, I want to push you to break out of your shell and share yourself with people a little bit sooner. I know you'll be commuting next year to Rutgers, New Brunswick, and commuting is tricky and challenging in its own way. So make sure you get involved with clubs and find other people that have the same interests as you, so you get the most valuable experience possible with your college career. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Kranz. And with that, we've recognized all of our seniors from the blue section. But before we leave, I'd like to announce the seniors from the blue section who are finalists for the Presidential Award. The first finalist is from Father Valerian, and that is Daniel Samoas. Our second finalist is Felix Clayton. And also from Father Timothy, another finalist is Jonathan Dulce. Congratulations, guys, and tune in on Friday to see who is the winner of the Presidential Award. Thank you all for joining us. And again, please join us tomorrow as we celebrate the seniors from white section. And then again on Thursday for the seniors from gray section, and on Friday for the presentation of all of the senior awards. Thank you.